The thought of dying or losing a loved one is never an easy topic. Most people prefer to avoid talking about it altogether. Unfortunately, it's one conversation you're guaranteed to have at some point during your life. You may have already experienced the stress of coping with the death of a loved one. Death is an emotional issue. Too often, family members struggle between mourning the passing of their loved one, dealing with the division of personal effects left behind, and making funeral arrangements. Grieving is hard, but it's much harder when there is a financial strain of paying for the final arrangements. The average cost of a funeral continues to rise, and these expenses can be higher depending on where you live. Typical costs include transporting of remains, embalming, preparation of the body, facility fee for viewing and the ceremony, a hearse, memorial cards and register book, a metal casket or vault. That doesn't include additional costs such as cemetery plot, opening and closing of the grave, crypts or mausoleums, and the monument or marker, which can be up to $7,000 or more, depending on what choices your family makes on your behalf. The combination of these final expenses alone could mean thousands upon thousands of dollars for your loved ones to pay for your funeral. Many people have found their life insurance ended upon retirement, only covered them for 5 to 10 years after retirement, or they were only allowed to maintain it for a very high premium. This causes many people to be completely unprotected during their golden years of life, which is the worst position to be in. Outstanding debts cause undue stress during a difficult time that creates a tremendous burden to your loved ones and can last long after your passing. Have you ever wondered who will have to pay your final expenses? Will it be your spouse? Will it be your children? Will it be your grandchildren? The more important question is, how will your loved ones pay for these expenses? A family member is faced with paying the cost of final expenses immediately at the funeral home. Oftentimes, a funeral home requires payment in full before preparation and services even begin, simply because they have no collateral to establish as a payment arrangement, like when you purchase a car. This leaves family members in a very difficult situation. How will they pay for the expenses? Borrow from friends and relatives? Withdraw from savings, retirement, or a 401k? Or liquidate their assets by selling possessions or taking out a reverse mortgage? This is a legacy no one wants to leave behind. Because of this, many people choose to take out a prepaid final expense plan. But even with a prepaid funeral, you may be left unprotected. Many prepaid funeral plans are tied to only one location and aren't transportable. In addition, they may only cover the cost of a funeral at the time of purchase and not protect against inflation. This leaves your family unexpectedly paying the difference in costs, which can be thousands and thousands of dollars. This doesn't include additional costs, such as opening and closing of the grave, a vault, the services, or transportation costs for the family. Because of these concerns, we created the Freedom of Choice Certificate. The process is simple. Your beneficiary takes the Freedom of Choice certificate to the funeral home and hands it to the director. Your beneficiary makes all the arrangements, writes the total amount on the back, signs it, and hands the certificate to the funeral director, just as if it's a check. The funeral director then calls the number on the certificate to speak directly to a claims representative to handle the payment so your family doesn't have to. We will never reveal the total benefit amount or value of the plan to the funeral director, so your family will never have to worry about being overcharged just because you have protection in place. Any remaining money is paid directly to your beneficiary in a lump sum check. The Freedom of Choice certificate can be used to cover any cost associated with final expenses, and it can be used anywhere at any time. It's the easiest and most compassionate way to handle the inevitable. If you died tomorrow, wouldn't you want your loved ones to know that you were thinking of them today?